The green car was halted at the Mempi outpost where they generally check for prohibition offences as they find a lot of illicit distilling and traffic in the jungles high up. Right, this Mali's green car was stopped at this Mempi outpost, uh, and the officers have um in a way just checked the vehicle because they are very strict. They are very strict when it comes to checking and try to search, identify certain objects that are not permitted by the law, right? Because this Mempi outpost is very close to the jungle, Mempi jungle, right? So certain kind of illicit distilling, illegal distilling. People are making some illegal, uh, this intoxicating beverages in the midst of the jungle. So the police is strict. Police is very strict and very observant, surveilling. And unfortunately, Mali has been in the wrong place at the wrong time. And in his car there was this bottle, and they are not quite sure whether this is illegal stuff made in the jungle, or is it kind of regular alcohol. So there's a question there as well, right? So anyway, they have captured, they have seized the vehicle, and they have found this bottle of alcohol in Mali's car. So that's the reason now. A policeman seems to have stopped Mali's car. There you go. A policeman has seems to stop Mali's car and found hidden in it half a bottle of some alcoholic drink, and you know how it is. Hasan explains, right? So in that car there was a bottle, a half consumed bottle of alcohol. And you know how it is. Hasan explains to Jagan, right? Do you know how things are? The police immediately seize the car, seal the bottle before witnesses, and have charged the inmates of the car under the Prohibition Act. Yeah. So under the Prohibition Act, these acts come under the constitution, a country's constitution. And a country's constitutions have these acts. If you do certain things, you are punishable. You fall under a certain crime, so you have to be punished for that, right? So it is stipulated in the constitution. Under the Prohibition Act, the police has captured Mali and seized the vehicle, as well as seized the half consumed the bottle of alcohol, right? And now Jagan asked, who else was there? Who else was in this car other than Mali? Two of his friends. Two friends were in the car. And now certain thoughts even hits the reader's mind, right? Uh, are they accomplices? We'll find out. Oh, his friends have been his ruin. Where is the car now? Says Jagan. Yeah, friends is the main reason why Mal is destroyed. In Sinhala, even you heard this, like Papa Mitrayo can put you into trouble as well as ruin themselves as well as ruin you. So be careful, right? Now, yes. Oh, his friends have been his ruin. Where is the car now? They drove it to town. It will keep at the police station till the case is finished. So the vehicle is in the police station. So it's in the police station. Till the case is over, the vehicle is not released. It's kind of confiscated, temporarily confiscated, right? Jagan sat up, shut his eyes and remained silent. His lips moving in a prayer. He sat down. Now he's under the Lodi statue. And his eyes eyes are closed, and his lips are murmuring, muttering, like kind of moving in a like a prayer, right? I I didn't know the boy drank, he said, coming on a fresh discovery about his son. All this time, there were plenty of mistakes from Mali's side. He was eating beef, he was doing, using tin food, certain things, right, that father even reluctantly tolerated so far. He hasn't done nothing, and even he's disturbed about these habits. And now, such a surprise, father almost cry, right? Almost repent, almost wail that Mali is consuming alcohol. It came as a surprise discovery, a fresh discovery about his son. And now Kasim immediately counterbalanced that argument, counterbalanced that sentence by saying, one doesn't have to drink to be caught by the prohibition. You don't have to drink to be caught under this prohibition act. You having the bottle in your car is enough. You don't have to drink. It doesn't mean that Mali drank here. Don't come to conclusions, in other words, right? It is enough one's breath smells alcohol. If someone's breath even smells a little bit alcohol, it's enough, right? It's enough for the law just to arrest him under the Prohibition Act. So it means like maybe his breath smelled this alcohol, right? Or intoxicating beverage. Uh, Smells of alcohol. There are some fever mixtures which have an alcoholic flavor. Yeah, now listen. There are some fever mixtures that have alcoholic. In some fever mixtures, in some fever liquids, some alcohol is there. For example, in our context, kasai, not kasai. Certain fever mixture can be kasai, of course, but when it comes to arishta, right? In our context, we call it arishta, right? එක පැණි ජාති තියෙන අරිෂ්ට වගේ අරිෂ්ට වල alcohol තියෙනවා පොඩ්ඩක්. And yes, if it's දැන් අරිෂ්ට බෝතලෙන් පොඩ්ඩක් කවුරුත් නැති වෙලාවට කාලක් විතර ගහන්න බම්බර වගේ වැනි පැද්දි ඉන්නකොට මත් වෙනවා, just like its alcohol is there, right? It's used for just concocting this fever mixture, and that's true. So that's why it's given in small doses, right? Right, alcoholic flavor. A doctor has to certify that he had administered 2 doses of fever mixture earlier in the day. That's all. So if a doctor can give us a prescription, right, or kind of a certification that that doctor has given prescribed Mali, right, administered some doses of this fever mixture some 2 days back, some earlier, right, in the day, some days back, right, or in the morning of the day, the problem is solved. So the breath of the smell of alcohol in the breath will be counterbalanced. That argument can be counterbalanced in the courtroom. Okay? And these are all suggestions given by Kasim, right? And that's all. That's the end of the case. You can't send someone to jail because of having this fever mixture which contains some alcohol. And Jagan asked, who is the doctor now? Who is going to give that? Who is going to help Mali, saying that he has administered that fever mixture? Oh, you are wasting time, says Kasim. Come on, let's go. The Kasim cried impatiently. Now, don't ask questions. Just come, let's go, right? The lawyer will manage all that. Lawyer has a law, because we are going to consult a lawyer. Lawyer will handle all that. You don't worry about those things. Trust him and leave it in his hands. Just trust the lawyer and leave it on his hands. Lawyer knows how to, arrange things, and it's his business. Don't worry about those things. Kasim says to Jay. Right? And now Jagan asked another question. What was the green car's business in the hills? Now, why did the green car go to the Membe Hills? What is the purpose? That's beside the point. Right. It's not the important point here. ඒකනේ මෙන්න මෙතන වැදගත් කාරණේ. Right? Beside the point. Anyway, Mali had gone up to confer with some parties on his business. Confer means having a conference with his some parties relating to his factory, relating to his business. Undisturbed at undisturbed at the Peak House. He was expecting some representing his foreign collaborators. Now he was expecting someone from these foreign collaborators just to come and meet him and have this discussion. And this unfortunate event has occurred in between. Right? And Jagan recovered his composure. Means Jagan came back to his normal senses now, common senses now. All this time he was shocked. Right? Composure means the placid state of mind, composure. Foreign collaborators, impressive words. No one in India knows about business. Always foreign. Well accepted, sir. But the bottle, how did it get in? Right, now Jagan is asking some severe questions. Jagan is doubting the story, and Jagan have some reasonable doubts against his own son. And he says like foreign collaborators, yeah, foreign people. Always these foreign people. Impressive words, beautiful words. No one in India knows about business. So these consulting people are always foreigners. So they can't be from India. ඉන්දියාවේ බිස්නස් ගැන දන්න කවුරුත් නැහැ. ඔක්කොම විදේශිකයෝ. බිස්නස් ගැන දන්න විදේශිකයෝ. ඉන්දියාවේ කවුරුත් බිස්නස් ගැන දන්නේ නැහැ. Right? No one in India knows about business. Always foreign. Well accepted, sir. Yeah. Very true, sir. Right? I understand. I get your point of view, says Jagan to Kasim. But the bottle, how about the alcohol bottle? How did it get into the car? How did it slip into the car? Someone left it there. A stranger stepped the car on the mountain road, asked for a lift to go on the way, and perhaps left the bottle behind. Anything can happen, right? Imagine, right? A stranger just asking for a lift where the vehicle is going, just to give a lift from Mali. So Mali has stopped the car. Maybe the stranger came with a bottle inside, right? And when he got down, left the bottle in the car. So Mali was trapped unintentionally. Mali didn't know there was a bottle, so he can be trapped. Explain Kazid, right? Jagan felt partly relieved at such possibilities. Jagan also felt like, yeah, that can also happen. But partly relieved means partially he believed such stories. In the other part, he didn't believe, right? He thought that Mali is into drinking. The bottle is half empty, right? And his breath was smelling a little bit of alcohol. If we really close read the text, right? You can get that point too. He studied his cousin's face to judge the quantum of truth in his explanations, but the man avoided his eyes and said generally, and how Jagan just looked into the cousin's eyes directly, just checking the body language. Is this guy serious about this thing, or is this guy coming up with his own ideas, or just building up stories here, just to cover up the reality, to cover the true story. His cousin making other stories, right? He studied the cousin's face to judge the quantum of truth in his explanations. But the man avoided his eyes. Cousin was not looking straight into Jagan's eyes. And said generally, anything is possible these days. You can't trust people, especially strangers. Cousin says like, okay, anything is possible. Anything can happen, right? We don't know for sure what happened. So, you can't trust people these days. And especially strangers. You can't trust them. So, that's it. When I didn't find you I went in search of Ganesh Rao, our lawyer. I couldn't find you yesterday, so directly went to Ganesh Rao, our lawyer. The best in our district is the best lawyer in the district, right? Very talented person, the best in the district in Malgudi. Though he is up to his neck in work, he has accepted our case. He knows Mali and admires his plans. He seems to have promised to buy shares on Mali's company when the time comes. Ganesh Rao is a busy man. He's got work up to his neck, means he's like almost drowned in work. He's a busy man, very busy man. But anyway, when Kasim informed these things to Ganesh Rao, he accepted it. He accepted the case, and he wanted to speak on behalf of Mali, right? And he's a fan of Mali as well. I mean, like one day when Mali is going to build that factory in Malgudi, Ganesh Rao is also planning to get shares from that factory, right? To buy shares. And now Jagan asks, does he believe Mali's machine can write stories? Does Ganesh Rao believe that lawyer believe those are educated people, right? Does he believe that Mali's machine can write stories? Some question, it's like something outside of this context, right? Now there's urgency here. Jagan is asking some other questions, right? I had no time to discuss all that, but he said, "Why not?" When I mentioned it, I mean, like this is I did not. I had no time to discuss all that. I was in a hurry just to talk to Ganesh Rao about this situation. But when I asked sometime, like he said regarding your question, he said, I mean, like the idea here is, why not? When I mention it, yeah, he also believed this machine can write stories, says Kasim to Jagan. Jagan became reflective, kind of a brooding, thinking, reminiscing. The cousin said, all that apart, the case is very strongly in our favor. Now forget. Like all that apart, even despite, nevertheless, all these things, we can win this case. We have the favor, means we have the advantage, we have the upper hand here. We sat discussing all the possibilities until 2 o'clock in the morning. So they were burning the midnight oil and discussing the possibilities. And yes, and we sat discussing all the possibilities until 2 o'clock in the morning. Cousin and the lawyer. I could find no time for sleep at all. I couldn't sleep all day. At 5 o'clock, I borrowed the bicycle and fell off it 4 times before reaching you. So, in the morning itself, Cousin has borrowed the bicycle and has tried to find Jagan, right? Was chasing Jagan. And in between, 4 times he has fallen from the bicycle. I mean, like, it's the first time he should be experimenting this. But it's fast, he wanted to travel fast. Right? So he was using the bicycle, and Ane Cousin had 4 times have fallen off it, right? Vati තමයි ඇවිල්ලා තියෙන්නේ, right? Jagan says, don't go on a bicycle again, please. Don't ride a bicycle again. You may kill yourself. You may fall dead, right? Don't put you into such a situation, said Jagan pontifically. Pontifically means just like the Pope. It's like proceeding from a subject as to a Pope, right? I mean, like in a way, he was preaching, exhorting, saying this advice to Jagan. They're saying this advice to Kasim. Right? The Cousin said he is also looking into the antecedents of the policeman who checked Mali's car. It means like the lawyer is also looking to the preceding occurrence, cause and event. That's the idea, maybe, right? The cause or event of this is particularly analyzing this preceding occurrence. Preceding ones means What's before this? Uh, Antecedents of the policeman who checked Mali's car at the outpost. That stranger who accosted them could have been the policeman's accomplice. They must have a grudge against you. Now they are just even analyzing it in a different point of view. Maybe this man who got into the car in between the stranger with a bottle is connected to the police, has some connections with the police. So if the police has a certain grudge with you, they could have easily, trapped Mali this way. For some reason, maybe someone is hating you, right? They must have had a grudge against you. If the police is against you, they can use one of their own people as accomplice who's carrying a bottle of alcohol and place it in Mali's car, and then the police can capture or arrest Mali for having these illegal things, right? So that's another way of thinking about it. So these things were happening even in those days in India, right? I mean, like those are uh, horrible things if you think about it. Uh, why? Asked Jagan. Why would someone have a grudge against me? Asked Jagan. Why should any policeman bear a grudge against me? Like, why? What's the problem with police? What's the problem they are having against me? I am a law-abiding citizen, in other words, right? Jagan was not against the police at all. He is under the law. He is a very silent, very successful businessman. So there's no reason police has to have a grudge against Jagan. Now Kasim says, for 100 reasons, police can be having a grudge against you, said the Kasim. People are generally bad. People are generally bad. He might have been demanding free packets of sweets from your shop. After all, poor fellows. They are all so ill paid that they do seek favors from shopmen. Imagine this, right? Now, Kasim tried to enmesh, kind of drag Jagan's certain actions in the past into this situation, right? Yeah, imagine there's a police guy, right? He was not wearing these police costumes and all, but he was in the line of uh, in the line just to buy the sweets when you were giving free. I mean, like that when you're giving out sweets, 25 paisa a packet. Maybe these police people were in the line, some policemen, right? And they didn't get the sweets, so they were angry against you, right? So that can be a kind of a distant revenge they have taken on Mali, right? Because they couldn't buy. And as a matter of fact, they are so ill paid. I mean, like these police guys are not getting a good salary. They are getting a poor salary, so they are ill paid. And that they do seek favors from shopmen. Like, because these police people are not well paid, they want favors, means some help. In other words, right, in Sinhala we call this police කට්ටිය පගා ගන්නවා හිටපු ගමන්. හරි? Even in common day to day knowledge, we know that, right? It is sometimes it gets noticed, right? And it's a crime. So people want these things, these favors, because they are ill paid. So these issues were even prevalent in the 60s. See the similarity, see the parallels, right? You might not remember it now, but you will have to try to recollect how you threatened to report him to his officers. Now, Kasim says, right? You may not remember it now. You may forgotten it by now, right? You are old man. But you will have to try to recollect how you threatened to report him to his officers. right? And maybe you have just threatened such a man and said that you will inform his superiors sometime back. Think about it. You don't know, you can't remember, but maybe such thing unintentionally has happened, right? Jay can say, surprise. I have never seen a policeman in my shop. No, no, no. I never seen a policeman in shop, right? This is a kind of what we call this. These kind of stories are like cock and bull stories. I mean, like doesn't make any sense sometimes, right? Cock and bull stories are nonsensical stories. Just doesn't meets. There's no rational explanation, right? For example, there's no head, no tails. It's just, for example, we know a cock and bull story, right? There was a man who wanted to steal some toddy from another person who makes it. And in the morning, he just climbed the coconut tree, right, just to get the toddy. And accidentally, the other person who owns the tree just found there's a stranger in the tree, just to want to have this uh, liquor. කිතුලට නගිනවා දැන් මිනිස්සේ කිතුල් හොරකම් කරන්න අයිතිකාරය එනවා දැන් දැකත්තක් තියෙනවා මිනිහක අපි ගහ උඩ ඉන්නේ ඒයි මොකද කරන්නේ හොරකම් කරනව නේද දහම් බිමට කිව්වා ඉතින් මිනිහා බිමට බැස්ස මොකද ගහ උඩ කරන්න කියලා මොකද කිතුලට නැගි තනකොළ බලන්න කිව්වා කොයිද මිනිහා තනකොළ තියෙන ගහ උඩ අයිතිකාරය ඒ ගහ උඩ තනකොළ නැති හින්දා තමයි බිමට බැස්සේ කියලා හොරා කිව්වා බැස්සේ තනකොළ නැති හින්දා තමයි බිමට බැස්සේ right. So these are called cock and bull stories, like stories that doesn't make any sense sometimes, right? There's no head or tails in it. And yes, that's why Jagan is surprised. Like, I have never seen a policeman in my shop who might have marked you in those days when you violated the laws. Jagan laughed at this idea. Maybe in those days, right? In old days, even he was married, right? Maybe some policeman has identified you, right? You have been breaking the law then, back then, when you were participating in Gandhiji's non-violence kind of movement against the British. ඒ කාලේ තරහ වෙච්ච පොලිස් කාරයෙක් වැඩි දුන්නත් දන්නේ said cousin, right? Then Jagan laughed, right? That's such a ridiculous idea, right? Doesn't make any sense. Very well it could be so, says Jagan, right? I mean, like, yeah. So if the grudge was to be born, we had a greater cause than the police. So now Jagan is contesting this idea, like, what? No, it cannot be, right? If the grudge, if this hatred to be pursued, if it's a hate crime, right? If someone is hating me, and is that the reason that Mali was arrested? We had greater cause than the police, right? There should be greater cause than the police, means like, no, this is a stupid idea. Like, police doesn't want to frame me into these things at all. I don't have a problem with police. Police doesn't have a problem with me, right? It doesn't work. There should be a totally different reason for this, says Jagan. Very well, it could be so. But Mahatma Gandhi trained us not to nurse any resentment. Anyway, the policemen of our days must all be senile or dead now. And Jagan also added, right? Mahatma Gandhi said to us that don't continue a resentment. Don't continue this anger. In other words, එහෙම වෛරය ගොඩක් කල් හිතේ තියාගෙන ඉන්න එපා කියලා මහත්මා ගාන්ධිත් අපිට කියලා දීලා තියෙනවා, right? And anyway, the policeman that remembered Jagan when he was young are no longer cannot be like functioning right now because he's now 60s. Jagan is in 60s. He participated in the struggle some years back when he was young. And now most of them must be senile, means very old age. Huh? Senile means when a person reaches a certain old age, they become uh, old and kind of idiotic. අපේ සිංහලෙන් කියන්නේ මේ නාකි වෙලා mental වෙනවා කියලා. and සමහර පොලිස්කාරයෝ ඒ කාලේ ජීකන් තරුණ කාලේ හිටපු පොලිස්කාරයෝ දැන් mental වෙලා ඇති, right? and dead now. සමහරු සෙත්ත පෝච්චි, right? because of the age. Jagan is also old man now. Or he might have had a brush with Mali sometime. Policemen are generally prejudiced against young people driving scooters or cars, And then again, Kassim says, Kassim never give up. Kassim always try to convince Jagan. Mali is innocent. Mali has nothing to do in this case. He was framed. It happened to Mali. Right? That's what Kassim is in the side of Mali. Kassim has gone to the extent taking all the trouble even to just consult the lawyer, right? Things like that. He has done for Mali. And even Kassim says these things. Oh, he might have brushed with Mali sometime. Maybe another policeman. Forget those things. Maybe a policeman has a general prejudice against young people, right? Now, policeman can be noticed. Imagine a certain policeman has noticed Mali riding scooters, cars, a rich merchant's son, right? And waited till he get a chance just to frame Mali. That can happen, says Kassim. Because police people doesn't like this young generation, young crowd, right? And they just try to frame him up. Again, in other words, you have to get the picture, right? සල්ලිකාරයෙක්ගේ පුතේ කාර් වල යනවා, ස්කූටර් වල යනවා, යාළුවෝ ආශ්‍රය කරනවා, පොලිස් කාරයෙක් නිකන් ඔබ නෝට් කරගෙන හිටියා. හරි. දෙන්නම් වැඩක් කියලා වෙලාව ආවම ඇල්කොහොල් බෝතලයක් දාලා මාළි අල්ලගත්ත වෙන්න පුළුවන්, right? There's logic there. And against people driving scooters or cars, this is all just casual talk. That's all. Just lawyer will instruct you on what to say. We should depend upon his guidance. Now this is things that even Kassim says, right? This is casual talk. This doesn't help the situation, right? Lawyer will handle it, right? Lawyer will instruct you on what to say. Lawyer will help us here, instruct you, and we should depend on his guidance. We'll ask his guidance. We'll consult the lawyer, so the problem will be solved. One thing is certain, just answer his cross-examination as he directs you. Just one thing is that he will ask you certain questions, then just give answers. That's it. As he informs you, right? The whole issue will turn on your evidence. It will be favorable for you. And after all this Kassim's talk, Jagan said briefly, if what you say is true, well, truth will win. If it's not true, there is nothing I can do. Jagan say, okay, I understand. If you are saying the truth, if what you say is true, the truth will win. If it's not true, there's nothing I can do. සත්‍ය ජය ගනි. ඒක සත්‍ය නෙමෙයි නම් ඒක ජය ගන්න නෑ. ඉතින් ඒ ගැන මට කරන්න දෙයක් නෑ. In other words, right? That's what Jagan said to do. Totally. No, don't say so. We must do our best to get Mali out. They could sentence him up to 2 years under this act. No, don't say like that. You can't say like that. Kassim says to father, right? We must do our best to get Mali out of the jail. They could sentence under this act, Prohibition Act, they could send Mali 2 years to jail. That's a serious thing. We can't just lightly avoid this. Then Jagan replies, who are we to get him out or put him in? Asked Jagan philosophically. Jagan recoiled back, withdrew to his philosophical attitude now, right? And he was like, Who are we to put him in or take him in, right? Put him in or just take him out of the jail. In other words, I am not the law, right? I'm not the law. If Mali is a law-abiding citizen, the law will protect him, right? That's the underlying tone here. Who are we to get him out or put him in? Asked Jagan philosophically. He had recovered from the first shock totally. Now the first shock was like Mali is arrested, was the first shock. And then came the second shock. Mali was arrested because of a half consumed alcohol bottle, right? So now the Jagan's second discovery was Mali drinking, was the big question. And he had recovered from the first shock totally and spoke even impishly now. Write down impishly. In an appealing but bold manner, right? It's like very daringly, very openly, Jagan is speaking now, without being scared of anything. Even impishly now, although his voice still a little thick with grief, even Jagan is little sad, he said this word in a very impish, in a very bold way, in a brave way. Truth out to get him out. If what you say is true, he repeated. If the truth is what you say, that will help Mali to be released. In other words, you don't have to go to the lawyer, right? That's the father's attitude here. Father is very firm in it. Uh, if Mali is innocent, that innocence can he save him from not going to jail. But the lawyer will have to build it up and establish it, said the cousin, with proper evidence. Now, cousin is arguing now. But yes, I understand. But lawyer has to help to give the impression that Mali is innocent. Lawyer will build up that argument. You can't build it up. The lawyer has to build it up, right? Said cousin. Build it up and establish it, said cousin, with proper evidence. He is thinking of way and means. If he is able to establish malafides of the policeman, we may even file a counter case in order to strengthen ours. So there are certain things the lawyer can do. If he is to able to establish malafides, means a kind of bad faith, dishonesty in the police, right? In the police, the lawyer can put a case against the police. Now imagine like this, right? So you are innocent. Some policeman hates you. Okay? Some policeman hates you. The policeman can come to you, right? And come to your house. And imagine he put some illegal thing in your house, in somewhere, right? He's putting it. He's placing it. Strategically, he's placing it. And say, here, you have something, some prohibited item in your house. So you have stolen. Come to jail. That you will be locked up and take you to the police. So you are innocent, right? But you've been victimized. Certain things happen. Such things have happened. There are certain examples, ample examples in our country. Right? Police has done those things. Everyone who is associated with law, right, knows these things have happened. Bad guys are there. Bad cops are there. Rotten cops are there. So in that case, a lawyer, right, a good lawyer can figure this out. Can figure this out. And if a policeman has done that to you, a good lawyer can file another case against the policeman and send him to jail as well for doing this. And you'll be free. That's the lawyer's duty. That's what he's explaining here. file a counter case in order to strengthen ours, right? Jagan's mind had attained extraordinary clarity now. Now, Jagan's mind worked totally clear. I mean, like his mind is not blocked now. His mind is working. He can see. His mind is not cluttered, not. And it's like not littered with all these other thoughts. He sees clearly with extraordinary clarity. He threw a look at his bag. Now he just brought some bag right from his house because he's planning just to retreat now. And suddenly something unexpected happened to him, right? Uh, he threw a look at his bag, lifted it lightly and said, looked to the bag, lifted it lightly and said, I wish you all luck, you and your lawyer and this distinguished client and also the poor soul, the policeman who had misfortune to stop at the green car. And he's saying like, Jagan don't want to take part in this, it seems. He says, right, I wish you all the luck, all the best. You and your lawyer and the distinguished clients means Mali and the police guy who has framed Mali, right? As Kasim explained, Kasim is trying to convince Jagan, okay, every one of you, good luck, right? And the poor soul, the policeman who had the misfortune to stop the green car, but don't expect me to take any part in it. I don't want to participate in this. Leave me out of it completely. I don't want to take part in this. I'm tired, in other words. I'm sick and tired of all this trouble. Forget me and I'll go away without asking too many questions. Like, forget me. Just completely forget me out of the picture. Don't come for me for answers or help. Forget me. Pretend like I was not there. And without asking too many questions, and don't ask me too many questions, right? And now Kasim suddenly was curious and asked, Where? Where are you going? Asked the cousin anxiously. Now what's going on? Now where are you going? What's your plan? I will seek a new interest, different from the set of repetitions of perform for 60 years. I'm tired of my life for 60 years now. Right? I will seek a new interest. I'm going to find a new meaning in life. I'm going to find new ideas, new interest in life, different from the set of repetitions, different from the day to day things that I have repeated over and over for 60 years. I'm going somewhere. I don't know. I'm going somewhere. It's not a particular place. He's mentioning here. I'm going somewhere, not carrying more than what my shoulder can bear. I have only little possessions right now. Only the possessions I can carry in my shoulder can bear. All that I need is in that bag. Whatever I need for my new life is in this bag. And Kasim says, right, immediately, include in the bank book, I suppose, right? Oh, okay, okay. You have the bank book with you, right? So you are taking your accounts with you as well. So it's like a witty kind of grim uh, remark as well, right? The witticism. Kasim always jokes or ridicules Jagan sometimes. Now he's telling, you're taking the bank book with you as well, right? ගිහිගේ ඇරලා යන මිනිස්සයා බැංකු පොතත් අරන් යනවා චෙක් පොතත් අරන් යනවා ඇතිනේ something like that, right? I suppose. Ask the cousin, which is a compact way of carrying things. How far are you going? I mean, like he says, like, yeah, that's a very nice, convenient way, compact way of carrying things, right? Whenever you want money, you can just issue a check or right, use the bank book just to do the transactions, and yeah, you have the money. So it's a very compact, right? Even you go to a new life, yeah, you have your accounts and everything. And Jagan described the retreat across the river. And Jagan said that I'm going across the river. Now he expresses it. He describes it. The cousin was aghast. Cousin was aghast mean cousin was surprised. Totally he was surprised. Like, what? I can't believe this thing is happening. I know that place near the cremation ground. Has that hair dyer been trying to sell it to you? Says cousin. Cousin is asking now questions, right? I know that place. I know that place, right? That place near the cremation ground where people are cremated when they are dead, where people corpses are burned. I know that place. Has the hair dye tried to sell it to you? Forgive me if I say, keep away from him. He is a sorcerer, knows black magic and offers to transmute base metals into gold. Right? Just stay away from that hair dye. Right? He's a sorcerer, he's a magician, he's a kind of a witch that can change, brainwash people. ඔය මනුස්සයන් ඈත් වෙලා ඉන්න ඔය මනුස්සයා මිනිස්සු brain wash කරනවා. මිනිස්සු වෙනස් කරනවා. Okay, magic card, right? Just like a dangerous guy. In other words, cousin jumps and just try to explain the situation, right? He offers to transmute base metals into gold. He's such a magician that he can change this transmute means change this gold into like metal into gold. We call this alchemist, right? In English. I mean, like alchemists are people who can turn base metals, like inexpensive thing into gold. That was a belief, but actually they can't do it. There were experiments for certain time, even in Western cultures and Western countries, right? In old days, but it was not a successful act, right? You can't create gold from base metals. Actually, as a matter of fact, a little bit of knowledge, gold is created inside the core of a star. And when a star just goes supernovae, these hardcore metals are thrusted into the air, thrusted into the atmosphere, thrusted into the space. When new planets are born, these things are incorporated. Right now, I'm not going to explain you the entire process, but that's how gold is made. Right, gold is such a precious metal, valuable because it was born somewhere totally inside a star. So you can't make gold from doing chemical reactions and things like that. You can't create gold. Gold is when the world started, there was a certain amount of gold. That gold still exists, right? In this world, there's no gold coming outside from outside the space, and there's no gold that is depleted from the whatever is remaining, right? People have made some jewelry and everything, but still gold is cannot be converted, or I mean like made by these kind of experiments. So right, so that's what he says, like cousin says, like, oh my god, this guy is such a fellow, he can make base metals, inexpensive metals like lead, iron, things like that into gold, right? Be away from him. He's such a dangerous fellow, right? And what does Jagan say? I don't care what he does. I'm not concerned about what the bearded man do. I am going to watch a goddess come out of a stone. I am just going there just to see how a goddess is made out of stone, is carved out of stone, how a goddess comes to life. If I don't like that place, like the place, I will go on somewhere else. If I don't like that place, of course I'll leave that place and go somewhere else. I am a free man. There's nothing to stop me. I never felt more determined in my life. I am happy to have met you now, but I'd have gone away in any case. But I'm happy to see you, cousin. It's saying goodbye, in other words, right? Farewell. I'm happy to meet you, but I've gone in any case, right? Anyway, this incident can't stop me. I'm leaving. I'm tired, in other words, right? Everything can go on without or without me. The life will go on with me or without me. Doesn't make a difference. That's the thing with the world. The world goes on with you or without you. Right? The world doesn't stop for you. Imagine how many important people have died in this world. Have the world stopped for them? No. It will not stop for you, it will not stop for me either. World goes on. Right? People will carry on with their lives. So it doesn't make right. Everything can go on with or without me. The world doesn't collapse. We'll highlight this. We'll highlight. Use a highlight. Very important lines, right? Very philosophic lines. The world doesn't collapse even when a great figure is assassinated or dies of heart failure. Think that my heart has failed, that's all. We'll highlight from the world doesn't collapse to the heart has failed, that's all. There you go. Jagan explains, right? The world doesn't collapse means the world doesn't stop. The world is not troubled. When a great figure is killed, assassin, like in the case of JF Kennedy, right? Or Mahatma Gandhi ji, he was assassinated. He was shot. Right? So has so many parallels here, right? The world doesn't collapse when the great figures is assassinated or dies of heart failure. Even someone dies of heart failure, the world is not going to stop. Think my heart is failed. Think I am suffering from heart failure and I'm dead. That's all. Leave me alone. Don't stop me here. He gave cousin a bunch of keys and said, he gave the cousin some keys and said, open the shop at the usual hour and run it. So he gave the authority of the shop to cousin. Cousin get the keys of the shop, right? And they can instruct, run the shop, do the shop. Now he has, like, cousin was all this time a jobless man, right? Jobless in a sense like he was attending to other people's work. Now he may have a regular work, right? Right. The shop as usual hours and run it. Mali will take charge of it eventually. Mali will do the shop. Eventually means ultimately, finally, Mali will come to the shop. Keep Sivaraman and the rest happy. Don't throw them out. Keep Sivaraman and the other cooks happy, other employees, right? Don't fire them. Leave. Let them stay in the shop. You can always come over to the retreat if there is anything urgent or to render an account. Alright, if you want some answers, if you want some help, I'm in the retreat. I am there, right? Retreat across the river. So you can come and meet me and discuss if something urgent. If you need my real help, I'm there to help you. Okay. And I'll tell you what to do. At the market gate, bus leaves from MP every 4 hours starting from 8:30 in the morning. Right? He even gives the instructions, right? At the market gate, buses leave from MP, this place, Memphis, every 4 hours starting from 8:30 in the morning. 8:30 from 8:30, every 4 hours, this bus is traveling. So transport is there. You are a busy man, but please help me now. You are a busy person, but help me now on this, right? Yes, I'll do anything. You say, said the cousin, rather intimidated by Jagan's tone. Now, cousin also this little intimidated means kind of threatened. Rather than threatened, it's like he's shocked, shell shocked in a way, right? It's like he can't believe that Jagan is leaving everything aside now. It's even a surprise to him, rather than Mali was being arrested, right? If you think about it. Cousin was so upset that Mali is arrested now, came to impart the information to Jagan just to save Mali. And Cousin is double shocked now just to discover that Jagan is leaving everything and giving the shop even for a while to temporarily run to Cousin. He can't believe this thing, right? In a way, of course, right? Intimidated by Jagan's tone, the lawyer wanted 2,000 rupees for preliminary expenses. Right, says the cousin. He will arrange the bill. Mali should be out before this evening. Cousin informs, right? Okay, now if we have like 2,000 rupees, we can arrange this thing immediately, and Mali will be free today evening itself. Mali will be free. We can make him free. Adds cousin, right? 2,000 rupees. It means like 2,000 rupees is what? Not a big deal for Jagan at all, right? 2,000 rupees is like each day naturally he earns somewhere around 1,000 rupees, like 2 days worth of earnings for Jagan. Not an issue at all, right? If he wishes just to pay. What does Jagan say? A dose of prison life is not a bad thing. It may be just what he needs now. Such a surprise answer from the father, right? A dose of prison life, going to prison for a while, is not a bad thing. Maybe that's what he needs now. In other words, said Jagan, opening his bag and taking out his checkbook. He opened the bag and took a checkbook, right? And now this is a very interesting turning point. Pay attention now, right? Jagan opened his bag and taking out his checkbook, resting it on his knee, he wrote out a check and handed it to the cousin. Anyway, Jagan wrote a check, keeping the book on his knee, right? Book on his knee. Resting on his knee, he wrote out a check and handed it to the cousin. He wrote a check and handed it to the cousin, right? So Jagan says partly, right, there's no harm in Mali going for jail for a while. In other words, he'll learn the lesson in the hard way. All this time he didn't learn the lesson in the proper way. So he learned this lesson in the hard way. That may be the underlying idea. Because Jagan too learned the lesson in the hard way. I mean, like when Jagan went to the prison, because taking part in this Mahatma Gandhi's freedom struggle, he had failed his BA, right? He didn't attain his educational qualifications. But what happened when he went to the prison? Accidentally, he was thrown into the kitchen. The people who's working in the kitchen. So he learned the art of cooking. Especially that was the skill, first skill, right? Helped him just to open this shop later on and just become a vendor of sweets, and he earned good money out of it. He became a successful businessman. In other words, prison has helped Jagan in a way, indirectly, just to be a successful man all this time. Even he's an unsuccessful father, that's a different thing. But as a businessman, he's a successful man. He has made his reputation in Malgudi. So no wonder he's thinking like, okay, this is the time for Mali to learn the lesson as well. He has to face some hardships. All this time, maybe Jagan is thinking now, I am the one who spoiled Mali with giving him such luxuries, such comforts. සැප වැඩි වෙලා තමයි මේක නරක් වුනේ. දැන් හැදෙන්න වෙලා හරි පොඩ්ඩක් දුක් විඳම ඔය ගතිය හැදිලෙයි. That's the logic here, right? If you think about it. So yeah, he thinks that a dose of prison life is not a bad thing. It may be just what he needs now, says the father. And he wrote a check out of and handed it to the cousin. He wrote some amount in the check, some money, gave some money, in other words, to cousin. And cousin asked, like, if there are any further charges, asked the cousin, if there are any other requirements, any other money, how can we do? We'll pay them, that's all. No problem, we'll pay them, says Jagan. You can ask me whenever you like. I am not flying away to another planet. I'm there in the retreat. If you want to meet me, just come and meet me. I'm there. I'm not going to Mars. I'm not going to Pluto. I'm just here. I'm just like across the river, right? Somewhere close to Memphis. In a retreat. Come meet me. We discuss. I'm not flying away to another planet. The cousin was amazed by the transformation in Jagan, who kept repeating, his eyes still wet. And Jagan's change amazes cousin, right? He can't believe it. Is this real? Is this happening? Oh my God, right? Cousin can't still believe this. What is this? Oh, sudden transcending kind of a experience. But his eyes were still wet. The little prison life won't do any harm anymore. A little prison life won't harm anyone. A little prison life can't do any harm to any person, says Jagan. So don't worry about it. Mali needs this lesson as well. I must not miss the bus at the market gate at 8:30. The bus is going sharp somewhere around 8:30. I can't miss that. If he misses it, he has to burn some hours to get the next bus. So he want to catch the bus at 8:30. I don't want to ask questions, but tell me, where is she? I don't want to ask you questions, says Jagan to Kasim. But where is Grace? Where is she? He asked, raising and shouldering his bag. His raising means standing up from where he was sitting and just, shouldering means having his bag ready just to leave. And Kasine replies, she has friends who have found a job for her in a woman's hostel. Some friend of Grace has found a job for Grace here in the woman's hostel. She's doing a job there, right? In the hostel began the cussing. But Jagan dismissed the subject halfway through the other's explanation and said, but Jagan dismissed means Jagan was not interested to hear the entire story of Grace, and began the cussing. But Jagan dismissed the subject halfway through the other's explanation and said, this is the last words. If you meet her, tell her that if she ever wants to go back to her country, I will buy her a ticket. It's a duty we owe her. She was a good girl. That those are the final words of Jagan. Right? Jagan says that to Cousin, if you meet Grace, and if Grace really want to go to America, let me know it. I'll buy her ticket for her. I'll 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 bear that expenses. Not a issue, not a problem. After all, Grace is a good girl. In other words, it's a duty we owe her. She was a good girl. In other words, like Jagan doesn't hate Grace. Jagan, at this moment of retreat, Jagan is a transformed man. He's very different. He's ready to help Grace just to go back to America and find her own life. If her happiness is in America, let it be. Jagan is ready to buy her the ticket. For Mali, let Mali learn his lesson, right? The hard way. And he's not disturbed or bothered about it. He has to learn his lesson as well. And Jagan is leaving his regular life now and he's retreating. And that's how the Windrose series comes to a conclusion.